Hey yo, what's up guys, CubeBlazer here, and today I'll be doing a critique from one of my friends, Melon, on one of my Discord servers I'm part of. So if you want to go check him out, his Discord server will be down in the description, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so for your first solve, you went with yellow cross, and you actually made a really good decision in just preserving this with LU moves, and which is I also sometimes might do with starting with yellow in front and doing a wide L, but it's a little bit more advanced, and you never know what pair you'll get unless you prepare do that straight away. But you did it from this angle, and then afterwards you did here. Then afterwards you paired this together. Like this. But in this case, for me, I would not do this pair, just because how easy this case is. So you could see that this is just going to do an L, a D prime, and an L prime. So you can already tell this yellow is going to be back here. And then you can just track where the edge is, and literally the edge does not move at all. So here, you can afterwards solve with this. So you could do this, pair it up, rotate, insert, or insert into the back, but it doesn't flow as nicely. Or in this case, because I know how to do this, you could just go do an R, you could do a B prime push, you do U prime, pair it up, do a B, R prime, and afterwards this will essentially solve this F12 case like super quickly. Like that. But instead you went for this pair. You can also do this. And one thing I didn't mention, if you did like this pair is not free, so you could just insert into the back, and then you have a okay third pair. It's not great, but yeah. But you did this for a cross solution, then you solved this first pair here, so you paired that, and after you inserted it into the front, which is not very ideal. Next pair, you did this. You did L prime U2 L instead of doing a U, and then L U2 L prime, and pairing these up to insert. So you just need to be careful of those whenever you're getting more fast. Okay, so you did L prime U2 L, then you realize what you did, so then you just paired it up and then inserted. Here you chose to go for this pair, so you did a U2 prime, then another U prime, so you just have a little bit of hesitation and you're not aware of where the pieces are. So then afterwards you just pair it up, and then you insert into the back. Then your last pair is pretty good, it's just pretty standard. You have OLL, and then PLL. So what you did in your execution, so you did AUF, you looked around for a little bit, it's just a little bit of hesitation, but it's fine. So you executed the ALG, but here this is where it got a little bit wonky. So you did R prime, then you regripped, then you did a U2. Normally, whenever you want to do PLLs, you just want to, so here you're doing a U2 here, so you want to do a U2 with the left hand, but notice when you do that, your ring finger is holding it instead of your middle finger, which is more natural. So here, I suggest you do Ito U2, if you see what that is. So here, you just use your entire hand to do a U2, and it's actually quite fast when you combine it. So yeah, first solve, pretty good, 12.6, and that's your first solve. Okay, for your second solve, you end up solving yellow cross again, and this was a pretty good solution, except when it came for you to do that D2, you re-gripped, you did a D2 with your right hand, and then you did an R2. I don't really like that. If you did a D2 with your left hand in this position, not R2, or you could do a D2 as you re-grip. So you could do D2 and an R2 like that, or even better, you can do a D2 like this if you can do that. R2. Another way to execute cross, which is a lot easier, I just moved my camera, is you could do D L prime, U prime, wide L prime, D R prime F2 R2, R wide L, and then you could just continue on, and you still have the same exact cross solution. Here, you didn't really pick a great first pair, although it was okay. It wasn't anything amazing. I'm just gonna look back on my reference cube. Okay, so I had green here. So here you did, looks like you did this pair, this green orange pair, because you hesitated for a little bit. So you took it out, and then you took it out, and then you just inserted normally. So I don't really like how you did that case, because here you have these two pieces right here, and then you could just do this, and then this is perfectly solved with keyhole right here. But that is a little bit more advanced. If we go back to cross here, if you enter like this, then, and if you still want to use the same exact pair, if you do R2R right here, this sets up. This also sets up right here. So here, then even when you solve this here, you can just solve it back here. But because you solved your pair like that by taking it out, and then you took it with our L prime U2L, you essentially just broke this up, and it also makes it a lot less ergonomic because you're doing a U2 followed by U. Unless you're doing a U2 followed by sledge, it's not going to be any faster than just alternating. And also alternating will also give you this free pair, and you can just get a really super easy first two pairs done with that. But you just solved it with L prime U2L, and then you solved this. And then afterwards you solved blue-orange here, which is the best case, but you didn't really solve it correctly. So you took it out like this, then you paired it up, and which is not that great, and then you enter into the back. For this case, if you do a U first, and then you pair it up like that, it becomes so much easier, and then you still have this free pair. So just in general, this solve is just crazy. So you just did this, and then you inserted it, and then afterwards you had a fairly easy case for this. So you recognized you had to rotate because you couldn't see anything, so you rotated. But you did this pair, which is good. But what I seriously didn't like at all is that you did a U2 here, and then afterwards you paired it up, then you did another U2. So you just wasted two U2s instead of just doing RU gen here, which would have been so much easier. So here you just paired it up, inserted it into the back, and afterwards you re-gripped, rotated, and then afterwards you did this, so you paired it up. But instead of doing sledge and getting a really good oil case, actually you just go straight into that. You decide to do VHLS or EOLS, depends on what you call it. So you did this, and then you did a wide R, then you it seems like you locked up a little bit, and then after you did wide R prime, then you did a sledge, then you did a U2 prime, and then after you did another sledge. And after this you had COLL, and I wouldn't recommend using COLL for this case, because even if you get this case, this still gives you an adjacent swap, which is a lot better than an opposite swap. So, and you also didn't really start like that, and it's not that much faster but it's fine. And then here you did this into the UA or UB, which is fine. But I prefer to use a OHU, so go over and then do a MU and then finish. Or you never nitpick if you really want to. This is just a super easy commutator for RU perm or RUS U perm. This is an alg that a lot of blinders use, and it's just super easy. It's just R2 U prime S R2 prime S R2 U R2. And it's like super fast. So unfortunately, with like the amount of luck that this solve really has and the amount of potential, you need to focus on most of the points, because there's so much that you could have gotten, but you only got rewarded by this much. So this was your third cross, and I really like this cross solution. However, you did a DF2 L2, then you entered this. However, I prefer to do a D with your right hand, then an L2, F2, then doing this. Because afterwards you can have this pair to work on afterwards, which is a super easy cross solution. Okay, but here afterwards, but you just did this cross solution, which wasn't great. And then afterwards you got a pretty bad first pair. I did it wrong on there, so I'll do it on here. So here, you got this as your first pair. So what you did is you took it out, paired it, and then you inserted it, which is okay in some scenarios, but in this case I would not do that. What you could do is you could do FU F prime, which you can only do if you can do lefty F moves. You could do U prime, then F insert F prime, which is quite risky, but especially for first pair. Your third option is to do U prime. You could do F U F prime, then you have this, and then you have a free pair set up afterwards. But you did this pair, then you insert into the back. Next pair you did red green, which is a really good option, but you solved it in a way that I don't like people solving it. So you took out the corner, then you paired it up incorrectly, so then you get a really bad case here, and then you took it out, and notice this edge, this is an F12 edge, try and find its corner here, and then you rotated, you can see that this does not match it, then you inserted, then after you have to rotate again. Going back to here, if you just split it up, here you can have two options, inserting with wide F or inserting with S. Either option is really good, because then now you just have your two front stops open, this is oriented, and then you could have some really good last two pairs solutions. So this is probably the best solution that you can ever do for this case. And that's considering if you use S. If you use wide F, then you could solve this pair, then you have this pair to do. But you didn't do that in the end, and it really sucks that you didn't, because you looked around for quite a bit. You took out this, then you paired it and inserted, then now you still have to rotate. So you did a Y prime, U2, then you did a little something odd. So you did, instead of just splitting it here to pair, you did a U2, and then you did L prime U2 L. So it may have been a little bit of confusion. Then you took it back out, and then afterwards you inserted. Other than that, it was you should have just split it up with L prime U prime L, because it's a lot more efficient than doing U2 than L U2. Because even if you do that, you may as well do a U2 then insert it like that, which is still a lot faster. But this is faster, but you got worse all. So you did this. Then you have this super easy OLL CP or OLL, because that's just standard OLL. PLL was completely fine. For this solution, you did white cross here, so you execute like this. There's nothing wrong with this solution. You just need to be very careful of the amount of D moves that you use, because you have a D prime there, then a D prime here, and then you did D2 prime. So here, what I would suggest doing is doing an L2 prime, and a YU, and an L prime. It's a lot safer than doing D prime, than a lot more D primes. Okay, so then for your first pair here, you did this pair, and I would agree with you. I'd also do that first pair. However, you did a U prime, then a U, so you're a little unhesitant. Then you split it up, then you inserted, or you didn't. Prime L. I think I'm at the wrong angle. Yep, okay, so you did this, so you did L prime, U prime L, and then you rotated, paired this, solved it into the back. Next pair you chose was green, red, and I would disagree with you, because here, you can easily see here, because you rotate, you want to check what is coming out of this slot. White, blue, red. This is already right here. So what you could have done is you could just solve this right away, but instead you decided to go for this, and you went for a really interesting solution. So you looked around for a bit, you found the edge here, so you took this over U2, then you insert into the back. This one has a special case, which I don't expect for you to know, but you did this, but you can do a wider R, YU, R prime, attach this, then R, YU prime, R prime, and that basically solved this pair. And it doesn't really affect that many things, but you instead just took it out here, rotated, inserted into the back, which is good. For here, at this point, you have this floating right here. This should be super easy to see, because before you rotated, this is already right here. So you should be able to see that right there, and then it should be easy to go into that. Instead of doing a U2, which is what I would have done, you did a RU2 R prime, which I've actually never seen anybody do before. So that's a really good job for you doing that, because I learned new stuff. You get to improve on your bad habits. So here you insert that, and here you have a little bit of a misrecognition. So you did U prime R, and then afterwards you went back, and then afterwards you split it up, and then insert to the front. For this case, I don't really like inserting to the front, because as soon as you do a U2 with your right hand, it's a lot easier to do a Y, and then insert to the back. But that's just a little nitpick. If you can do this quickly, then it's good. Your OLL, I did not like your OLL, so you did F prime, F prime, then you regripped, then 2 left sexy moves, then you did an F here, and it was quite slow. It costed quite a bit of time. Instead, I preferred doing R prime, U prime, double sledge, UR, which also leads with JA prime, which is super nice. Or from this angle, you could do a hedge, U2. You could do RU from R prime, and R to R prime, which leaves with T prime, which is also super good. But you did F prime, and also here, even if you still want to use the ALG, don't regrip here, just do that. Then F prime. But you did F prime, 2 sexy moves, F, and then you had a really nice piece B execution, especially with this last U move. Okay, for your last scramble, you had a really interesting cross solution. So here you can already tell. So you have one free pair here, and that's pretty much it so far. And with your cross solution, you did this, and afterwards you actually insert this into here. Then you regripped, which I didn't really like. D2, R prime, D2. So you basically had 3 regrips here. Instead, what I would have done for the same cross solution, I'd use my left hand for D2 flicks, like that. So here, regrip at the same time. Then I could insert this, which is super easy. Or, with a similar start, here, you could do this, then D, R from F, R, then Y U. A, you have 2 free pairs, so you can insert this, and then insert this. Yeah, going on for cross solution. Here, you saw this, good choice, just insert the free pair right away. And then afterwards, you did this pair, you pause for a little bit, and then after you paired that up really well, really nice thunder. Here again, you have those minor inefficiencies. So you did U, then you split it up instead of just doing a U2 and then pairing up, or just a U2 prime to be more ergonomic. But you did this, and then you paired it up, and then you inserted. Here, I really like the way that you did this here. So you paired it up, and then after you did a hedge here, which is really good because it's faster than rotating and inserting, and then you don't really get a good case from this angle. Then you're going to do U2 into the ALG. Right here, really nice job on inserting this with hedge. Here, the last layer was completely fine. You had a really interesting finger trick, which I don't use for that case. I prefer to use that and then do a wide R prime R. But because I used to use Ru, and because I know full CFCE, this is one of those cases, and also I'm learning COLL or CPELL, which is one of these cases. So COLL is corners oriented, and then all, I guess that's what it's called. And I prefer calling it CPELL because it's corner permutation, CP, and then plus ELL, which is basically super easy. So this is just an N perm case here. This is NA, because if you flip these here, you can tell this is NA really easily. And from this case, I know the specific ALG, and this is a super easy ALG. So it's just a R2, D, wide R prime, U, wide R, push D prime with your left ring, R2, U prime, F prime, U, F. So that's just a super easy way to do that one with last layer, and it's like, it is pretty fast. But yeah, other than that, I don't expect for people your level or other people to specifically know this case because it's a little advanced. But yeah, other than that, and that little slight minor inefficiency in F12.3, that was a really, really good solve. So in the end, like your solves are all really good, but one thing I'd advise you is look for better cross solutions. This is from your solve number 2. Look for better cross solution executions. So here, you did this, and then you did d2 prime. I don't remember how it went here. So when you could just done like this here. So just experiment with different executions, and your solves will be faster. Try and get rid of these minor inefficiencies whenever you're solving the next pair. You should be able to see what should be going on, because right here you can see your pieces right here. You can do U2 right away and then solve this instead of hesitating and then doing some extra moves before inserting. And especially for this case, when you have this, it can be easily paired up here to rotate and insert, but instead you inserted the wrong way, and then you did this. And also remember, even if you insert incorrectly, look for other pieces while you're fixing them, because here you can see that this is just here, and then you can insert in a different way, which will most likely benefit your last layer. And finally, take advantage of using weird finger tricks, which probably will improve your solves, especially like this Ito U2, reverse Ds, which are super useful, D2 flicks, U2 flicks, and then just different ways to execute algs, like this G perm, and the final U at the end. So if you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. If you didn't like it, you can hit the other one as well. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe button and enable notifications so you can see my future videos. I have another video coming up. It's going to be another critique solve from someone else. If you want to get critiqued, there will be a forms down in the description, and I will try and do as many as I can, considering that the COVID-19 outbreak is going on currently. If you really want to join Melon's Discord server, which you should, by the way, his Discord server is down in the description. Thanks for watching, guys. This is CubeBlazer, and I'll see y'all later.